Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. I'm going to go over what it costs me to run my business in a month. Some of these are variable costs, some of these are fixed costs, and over the past 2 years, these costs have really gone up because of fuel and because of parts. Last year, middle of the year, I got rid of my big truck, moved into the cargo van / Hotshot. At first, with just the cargo van itself, my operation was costing about 35 cents per mile to run. And I'm basing that on a 10,000 mile month, 2,500 miles a week. Should be easy for most people to do. Even if you're trying to stay local, you should be able to get close to that depending on what you're doing. But especially if you're over the road, 2,500 miles a week is fairly easy. So I base it on that. Last week on Thursday, I paid $2.78 per gallon for fuel. I use gas. I don't have to use DEF or anything like that. So I'm going to go over how I come about my numbers, because I've had people ask me, how much it costs, how can I make a profit? I've had other people saying, oh, you can't do it for that cheap. And, either way it goes, I'm going to show you the real numbers here. And I just want to point out, as I have to say in a lot of my videos, because I still get comments on, oh, you're not doing it right, and you can make more money doing this and that. And it looks like this is a little fogged up. And so I have to say this, kind of a disclaimer for every video. I don't do things like most people do. I stay away from the east. Anything in the east of the Mississippi, I usually don't go that direction. I just don't enjoy driving over there. That's a big difference between me and everybody else. If you're trying to earn the most money, stay in the most consistent lanes, go in that direction. I don't care to go over there. I go over there every so often just to mix things up, but I kind of like to stay around Texas. And if I venture out, I'm usually going west or northwest and enjoying the scenery. That's just the way I enjoy doing it. I understand it's not the greatest lane in the world, but that's the way I do it. So I feel like I have to point that out, because I always get super trucker that says, oh, you're doing it all wrong, and you need to do this, you need to do that. Just understand, I'm not doing it the way you're doing it. I don't stay out for weeks at a time. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I want to keep it that way. So I'm going to base these numbers on a 10,000 mile month, 2,500 miles a week. Right now, I'm getting about 12 miles a gallon average, because I am pulling the small Hotshot trailer, whereas before that, I was getting a little bit 14 or a little bit better. And I do drive slow, so keep that in mind. I understand a lot of people saying, well, I can't get that in my truck. I take off slow, I drive slow, I really try to maximize my fuel mileage. So 12 miles per gallon. And what I did with this was I just based it on gasoline being at $2.90 per gallon, because I can get that pretty much all the surrounding states around Texas. I can get close to that with my little discount. And so at the end of the month, 10,000 miles, I'm paying about $2,400 a month for fuel. I tell you what, about a year and a half ago, I was spending almost that much per week in my big truck. It was getting ridiculous. But moving on down to all the fixed costs. Some of these I can save money on. Others I'm just going to keep them the way they are. The first one is the insurance. I've got Progressive insurance. It's to me, it's the best out there, most recognized. Every single carrier works with Progressive. I pay probably a little bit more than I could if I went out and searched around, but I just don't trust. I get these emails all the time and calls saying we can save you money, and I just don't want to go with Bert's insurance. I want to stay with somebody that's proven, that I trust. They've been very good to me, and I'm paying a little bit more than I should, but I want that insurance. My truck, this is one that I've been harping on for years now. This is the one that, especially a couple years ago when I'd mentioned something about don't go out and buy the big fancy pre-emissions truck because it's bad on fuel. Parts are expensive, and I would get super trucker on here that would say, oh, well, it doesn't have DEF, so these old trucks never break down. You know better than that. But right now, you know the YouTube truckers that are out there that went out and bought those pretty trucks so they could get YouTube clicks or so that they could look good. They are hurting right now. But my truck, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it makes me money. My truck and trailer, I do have a trailer payment. I bought a brand new trailer, a 20-foot Hotshot trailer. And the truck I bought it specifically for a few specific reasons. One, it was a gas engine, and diesel was just getting outrageous, and I just wanted to avoid that for a little while. Number two, I could build a sleeper in that van and be comfortable. Three, I could haul freight in it by itself if I need to, but more importantly, I could put a bumper hitch on there and haul Hotshot and do both at the same time. So, number of reasons I bought it for specifically this time when diesel prices were outrageous, parts were hard to come by, all sorts of different things. But I do have truck and trailer payment. Could I have saved money on that? Yeah, I could have bought an older van. Mine's a 2017, but it had a brand new transmission in it, and the engine was in good shape, no oil leaks, no nothing. So I paid probably a little bit more than I should, and then I bought the brand new trailer. Load boards. I could save a little bit of money on load boards. I pay for 2 load boards. I use all kinds of load boards, but I pay for 2. And one of them I have the professional package, whatever they call it, the upgraded package. I could save a little bit of money on that, but I like what I've got right now, so I'm sticking with it. And ELD costs about $50 a month. And I actually, before I got this, I have a Motive for my ELD service. Before I had that, I had a Garmin, which didn't cost me anything per month, but it was just hard to navigate and use, so I upgraded. Tags. Tags are gonna be different for everybody, depending on type of truck, if you're doing interstate or intrastate, if you want to do IRP plates, so they can be anywhere from a few $100s to $2,000. Somebody wants to call every time I get on. But tags are just, it could be from, like I said, 200 to 2,000. There's just no telling. Oil. Here's one. This one's really tricky. I do my own oil changes. It costs me $50. I do it out in the driveway. It takes less than 30 minutes. With this truck, compared to a big truck or a straight box truck, even with, if I paid somebody to do it, it cost me about $100, and it would take 20 minutes. I could be in and out. I could take it just about anywhere, as long as they had a high enough door for me to fit through, and most of them do. The big truck, I also did my own oil changes in the big truck, and I could do that in my driveway. Take me less than an hour to do the oil changes, change all the filters, and lube the whole thing. Now, I know most people don't want to do that or can't do that, but for whatever reason, so they're taking it to Petro, TA, Speedco, one of those places. I can tell you from experience, because I've done it a lot. When I first started out, you're going to pay $400 or $500 for them to do it, and it shouldn't cost half of that. But then you're going to be spending half a day in there if you're lucky, while some guy's texting his girlfriend while he's supposed to be doing your oil change and you're waiting. So time is just as important as how much money you're making, because if you're sitting there, you're not making any money and you're actually spending money. So my oil changes cost about $50. I change it every 10,000 miles. I could push that out to 15 or 20,000 miles, but I'm going to keep it at 10. Tires. Here's a huge one. Again, comparing this to my big truck, I paid a little over $1,000 for 6 brand new tires for this van. The brand I got was the top of the line at the place where I got them. I even got a 50,000 mile warranty, and I can take it back over there whenever I want and get a free rotation. And that's something that you're not even going to touch on a big truck. As a matter of fact, on a big truck, if you have a flat on the side of the road, it's going to cost you $1,000 to get it fixed, and I can get a whole new set of tires for that. But on the big truck, you're going to be spending $5,000 to $6,000 for a set of tires just for the bobtail. And you know, even this little truck, I get an alignment every so often. It takes them about 45 minutes to do it. On the big truck, if you're going to make those tires last as long as possible, you're going to need a 3-axle alignment every so often. You're going to have those tires rotated every so often. You're going to get charged every time. What I'm pointing out is the bigger the reward, the bigger the risk. You're going to make more money in the big truck most of the time, but sometimes you're going to get caught up. And when you're not on the road, these bills still keep coming. So adding all these things up, I'm spending about $4,116 per month for just to run 10,000 miles. I mean, that's a lot of money, especially if you take out the fuel. And if I just sit here for a month, I'm spending $1,700 just sitting, my truck sitting in the driveway. But $4,116 per month. And what you do is you just divide that by the number of miles that you started out with. And my operation right now costs about 41 cents per mile. I've left out a few things, and I'll get to that in a minute. But, 41 cents per mile. Anything over that, I'm making a profit. So one of the things that I left out was your DOT physical. For me, I take one every 2 years. Some people do it every year, and some people do it every 6 months. For everybody, it's a little bit different. Not a huge cost. I think, what was it, $75 for a DOT physical, something like that. So I didn't include it in here because it's not that big of a deal. It'd come down to, $10 a month, less than that. Shop time, downtime equals money. Like I said, when your truck's in the shop, these bills still keep coming. I do 90% of my own repairs, which saves a lot of money. If you can't do your repairs, you need to figure it out, because that's going to save you a lot of money, and especially a lot of time. Like I said, I can go out there and get my oil change done when I was in the big truck in less than an hour, and at less than half the cost of a TA or a Speedco. And if you're not doing your own oil changes and you're taking it to those places, you're going to spend half a day just sitting there while these bills still roll in. And you're going to spend twice as much money as you should. That goes for any repair. In the big truck, I guarantee you that if I had to turn it in for something, they were going to spend 2 days figuring out what was wrong with it, because there are no diesel mechanics anymore. They're all technicians. If they can't plug a computer into it and the computer doesn't tell them what's wrong with it, you're going to start racking up charges because they don't know how to fix it and they have to figure things out. So, every time you take that big truck in there, it takes them 2 or 3 days to plug that computer in there and figure out what's wrong with it. Then they got to order the parts, then they got to fix it. So that thing's going to be sitting there for at least a week, and I guarantee you every time they're going to figure out a way to charge you $2,000 or more for something. So learning how to do your own repairs really pays big time. And like I said, when you're moving up from a Sprinter van to a cargo van to a box truck to a big truck, each step up is going to cost you more and more money. Bigger the reward, bigger the risk. So time is money. Time is money. Parts, getting better, but people I talk to say, yeah, I'm still waiting on this part. It's still in back order and all that stuff. Whereas with mine, it's a Chevy gas engine. There's no waiting. I can get those parts anywhere. Here's a good one: rebuild or replace. When my truck blew up, I had a decision to make. Do I rebuild the engine? I had already ordered the rebuild kit, and I was waiting on it. I've waited on it for over 2 months. And I was looking at my truck and I said, you know what? I just need to do a bunch of work to this. So I started making a list of all these little things that need to be done to bring it back up to 100%. And at the end of the day, it was going to cost me about $30,000 to bring an old truck back up to a really good shape. And at the time, diesel prices were going through the roof, and I just decided, hey, it's not worth it. So when it blew up, I sold it. And the guy that bought it, he already had my rebuild kit, so we were all good to go. And that's why, one of the reasons why I switched over to this little cargo van. But it was, you know, let's just talk about a rebuild on a diesel motor. You're going to spend anywhere from $12,000 to $17,000 getting that thing rebuilt, not counting the time you lose. If you take it into a top-notch shop, you're talking 2 weeks for it sitting there. If you're taking it to a shop where they're, you know, dilly-dallying everywhere, you're going to take about a month. So all that time, all these bills are rolling in. Not only are you spending $15,000, $16,000 to get it rebuilt, but you're not making money to pay these bills. In my truck, in my cargo van, I can go out and get a crate motor for $3,000 to $4,000, and I can have it installed or even do it myself out in the yard in a couple of days, about a few days. Let's not get carried away, but in a few days. So, but the thing is that I don't have to stop my operation. I can get in my personal truck, a little half-ton truck, hook up my trailer, and still be going, which I've had to do already one time. But, you know, it's just the smaller the operation, the easier it is to overcome problems, mechanical issues, downtime, and all that. Let's see. Tolls, obviously, tolls are going to be much higher in the big truck. You have to get a 2290, which is heavy duty tax for a big truck, which is $500 a year. On mine, I don't need that. So I'm sure I'm missing out on a few things here, but remember that you can plug any numbers you want into here. I talked to a guy a couple of months ago. He was doing Hotshot. He had the ultimate setup. Beautiful, beautiful truck, custom wheels, a very nice trailer. He was paying $1,700 a month just for his truck. $1,700. And his trailer, I didn't talk to him much about the payment on that, but I'm sure the trailer payment was up there to $700 or $800 a month. So imagine adding, you know, a couple $1,000s to this price. That's just for a Hotshot operation. You know, when you're, you know, I've mentioned this over and over, and I get people's feelings get hurt when I talk about this. You can look good or you can make money. Right now, you can't do both. And for all the guys out there that, you know, wanted those YouTube clicks, that went out and got the big, beautiful trucks, and their operation is costing $1.41 a mile instead of 41 cents a mile, they are in trouble right now. They are hurting. And that's why I always try to keep it simple, just keep all my costs low. I don't look pretty, but I make money. I'm able to make it on my terms, go where I want to go, when I want to go. Right now, I'm working more than I want to, but that's just because rates are so terrible. But like I said, can you imagine having to pay $1.41 a mile, and you're looking at freight that's $2 a mile, and you're not making a profit? And when your truck goes down, you're really going in the hole. So when it comes to the truck, looks are not important. They're not. I mean, leave your ego at home when you're thinking about a truck. It may be ugly, but it may have a brand new rebuilt motor in it, and you know, it gets good fuel mileage. It's all you need. Just the big, beautiful trucks, they're nice for your ego, but they don't make you money. Get something that's good on fuel, something has a decent motor that's dependable. That's all you need. It doesn't have to be pretty. Keep your overhead low, and you can make it through. This is the worst freight market I've ever seen, and people are hurting. But if you have a low overhead, you can still make it through this and hold out to the better times.